All right, we're going to dive right on into this because we got some stuff to talk about tomorrow. So it is late on a Friday, had a busy day here, but I'm going to basically put all the focus here on Saturday's severe weather threat. So we know we're going to have strong thunderstorms. These are going to come through and pack a punch, not just your typical summertime storms. They're going to be more than that. I have this feeling that it's a derecho setup. We'll talk about what that means. Strong straight line winds, hail maybe, but the winds is what I see here. I see a lot of wind energy. I see a lot of lightning. So we're going to try to make sense of all of this here moving forward. So storms from this afternoon have kind of fizzled. We got some trying to hold together as they head towards Troy, parts of Crenshaw, perhaps Barber, Pike counties, but most of central Alabama rain free after some early evening thunderstorms. So convection gradually dies out overnight. So the question becomes, how do things initiate tomorrow? Look at this sprawling SPC outlook, okay? We can trim away some of the fat. I wouldn't worry about that huge slight risk area that extends up here. It's that orange enhanced risk that I think is pretty well painted on there based off of the setup. So level 3 out of 5, it's an enhanced risk. So that's a pretty decent thinking that we're going to have some strong, severe, maybe significant severe thunderstorms with this as it moves through. And it's certainly plausible. I've been sitting here trying to find a reason why it's not. I can't quite come up with one. So let's talk about the timing. Noon to 4, north of a line from Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Gadsden. 3 to 7, south of that line down to, say, Demopolis, central Coosa, Tallapoosa, Lake Martin, over to Tuskegee. And then those points south, the line will be weakening, but that 4 to 9, maybe 10, 11 o'clock as you get down to the Wiregrass if it holds together. Okay, start with number 1. Tomorrow, because the timing isn't until the middle of the afternoon, this is the environment this line's going to be moving into, which is the first thing I thought of is, okay, what could possibly deter this line from intensifying? Cloud cover, some rain. It's going to come through at the peak heating of the day, peak instability of the day. There's really no reason why this would fizzle out or wouldn't continue to intensify as it moves through and basically has warm air, has rising air, straight fuel to a thunderstorm. So let's go to Saturday morning. We're going to talk about how this all initiates here. So what this is depicted here, this legend, this is your instability values. Okay, that's a mark of how much energy is available to move air vertically within the atmospheric profile. The higher that value, the more violent updrafts you can get. Explosive updrafts can lead to very tall cloud tops. And when you've got strong winds aloft, as we will tomorrow, you can also have that transferred to the surface with dangerous straight line winds. So, 9 o'clock, what do we have here? Sunny skies, partly cloudy over central Alabama. And this MCS, it's a mesoscale convective system, is going to be coming to fruition, developing over in Arkansas. Okay, at this point, it's probably not the most robust of systems. Let's move ahead to about 11 o'clock. Okay, now what do we have? You got a little bit of a Boeing segment. A line can tell you a lot if you just look at it. There's certain things when you see a feature like that, you've got really strong winds in here. And these are aloft, pushing the storm ahead, and you'll get that on the lead edge, these very strong straight line winds. So when I say derecho, it's not a very common thing we talk about. It's not meant to be scary. It's just what it's called, and it's a term for a long track of damaging straight line winds. A lot of times thunderstorms, a microburst, a quick downburst. It's a one and done type thing. The setup tomorrow could have consistent, persistent straight line winds over an extended area. I could be totally wrong on this, but the more I look at it, the more it makes sense. So now what I've plotted on here is those instability values, okay? So what we're looking at here is instability values that are in this high range. I mean, if you follow how we do severe weather forecasting and whatnot, a lot of times the biggest limiting factor is instability. It happens a lot in the springtime where we'll have a ton of shear, low instability. We got a lot of instability here. Told you we got the temperatures, warmer air, it's more buoyant. So if you already have a warmer air mass at the surface, it's primed to rise. But then on top of that, you've got cooler air aloft, so it's very unstable. It just adds to that vertical motion, and it's just going to feed into this line. So I see no reason why this line would weaken in any way as it moves into a favorable area. Now, one thing that could happen that we'll have to watch for, this later run, it puts it further north. Okay, let me go to the run just prior to this. So, same time, look at the track here. That puts a pretty good line of thunderstorms coming through the Birmingham metro, you know, mid to late afternoon tomorrow. So I think the questions might just be, what track does this take? Does it go more northerly and stay in the northern third of Alabama? Does it cascade south and hit points along and south of I-20? I don't really have any doubts that this will produce strong straight line winds. I think that's a foregone conclusion. Not necessarily severe limits the whole time, but there's going to be enough wind energy that you're going to 35, 45, 50 miles an hour pretty consistently out ahead of this. And as it moves across the state, again, there's been no cloud cover, no rain cooled air that would go against this. The only thing we'll be losing with time is the daytime heating. So, you know, as you move into the evening hours, you notice the line doesn't look quite as intense, although it's still showing, at least on this model, some characteristic bowing segments. When you look at a setup like this, it's easy to see, all right, we have some wind shear. It's speed shear aloft. This is not a setup for tornadoes. It's just not. This time of year, you don't have that dynamic rotation with height. It's not an air mass that's typically conducive for that. So that doesn't mean that you can't have impacts from this. And if we do have prolonged straight line wind damage, which is the definition of a derecho over an extensive period of time, that can be just as impactful. Again, I'm not sold on that. I'm just trying to find a reason why that wouldn't be the case tomorrow. So with something like this, you typically have a lot of power outages. There's going to be a tremendous amount of lightning with this as well. So that's going to be something that, again, we always, this time of year, it's always part of the forecast. It's an easy thing to forget about. But it's certainly, we had a couple house fires this evening from alleged lightning strikes. So there is certainly an impact to be had there as well. So by about 8, 9 o'clock, a lot of this is moving towards the state line along I-85, LaGrange up to Peachtree City, and this model not really having it even get down to the Wiregrass area. So again, this is at 1 o'clock. You'll see this line swinging through the shoals, northwest Alabama. I think it's going to speed up with time too, and that forward energy could also play a role in those winds. So again, been wrong before, but as I look at this, nothing to weaken it. It's not moving into an atmosphere that would deter strength. So in summary, this is coming through tomorrow afternoon. If you have outdoor plans, be wary of this. The whole line is probably not going to have significant winds, but there's going to be a decent chance that on the lead edge we have some pockets of some good wind gusts. Hail is another thing I'm not sold on. This might be isolated instances of hail. Again, the profile lacks a little dry air pocket, which we kind of need. But you get a strong enough, updraft and the right little mesoscale features, you might see that change. Our issue tomorrow is going to be winds. In some instances, when you have a derecho setup and it's moving unimpeded through an area that's unstable, you'll see those winds maximize at higher than 60. I'm not expecting that to be a widespread issue, but it's just something to keep in mind. Flooding, probably not going to be a major issue. The only reason I kept it in there, we've had so much rain lately, it wouldn't take much to cause an issue in some flood-prone areas. But again, winds are going to be the thing that we watch for tomorrow. Again, noon to about 9 o'clock. I'll pop up this graphic one more time so you can see it. And again, we're in that season. You start to talk about June. July, you get these setups where, thunderstorm, a line of storm starts, and it doesn't stop until it hits a boundary that weakens it. It's a very similar setup. Starts to our west, really no reason for it to stop until we lose daytime heating and instability by the tail end of this. So we'll watch it closely. Maybe we'll see something different tomorrow. Maybe clouds stick around, some sort of inhibiting factor. I would certainly say for now, though, be prepared for tomorrow. Some gusty winds, lots of lightning, some scattered power outages. Outdoor plans, middle of the afternoon, have a backup plan. That looks your Friday evening forecast. Late on this Friday, coming up on 9:30. We got our show coming up at 10. Everybody has a great start to your weekend. We'll give you another update in the morning.